victimhood is the problem that we need to solve, and we saying that promote stories of success survival from the feminists is one of the way. And the victimhood is we can say the oppression or the mistreatment of the people when they were kids or the experience, and nowadays it still happen. And we the government side believe that this statement is true. And today, as the first speaker, I will be talking to you about why I'm not I'll be talking to you about by actively promote these stories, we can help the other people who became a victim, and our second speaker will talk more details on it, and our third speaker will rebut the negative theme and some of our thinking. So I'm going to discuss about my points, which is by promoting actively these stories of feminist movement, is we can help the victim, okay, those who mistreatment, who get mistreated and get oppressed from the gender discrimination or violence to them, and by giving these stories to them, we can give them the hope or the way or the solution for them, or inspiration for them to fight or to survive, and to survive the of being a victimhood, of being a victim to this mistreatment. And it is just as simple as storytelling, okay, just some kind of that. When the feminist movement, just these organizations, they will talk about this, and they will talk about their experience and how they overcome this their problem, and this will give the victim the what you call the inspiration and way to help themselves. And we need to do this in a very large scale, which is we can do using the internet, okay, at the internet, and we didn't do any limitation or boundaries against them, and they can do their free speech anywhere. They can do a forum on television or writings, not yet, writings and free speech to the society. So also to help someone with the victimhood, we can label them as a victim, and we just because if we do that, it will just make the victim became more, the things will get more worse. And to help that, they need this story, which is not the story or the story of the victimhood, but stories of someone who survived this. And I think
All right, thank you to the Prime Minister for the speech. The speaker spoke for 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Thank you.
Now I would like to call Leader of Opposition, to deliver her speech. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that this House, as a feminist movement, will actively promote stories of victimhood as opposed to success and survival. We agree with the definition given by the affirmation team. However, we, the negative team, believe that this statement is false. Today, as first speaker, I will be talking to you about human rights issue involves women that a feminist movement should promote. Our second speaker will be talking about the way for women who are victims to save their lives. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team case. The first speaker of the affirmative team has tried to tell you that we can help the victims who are mistreated gender discrimination by giving this story for them to fight and survive of being victim. We think that the story of success and survival are not related to victimhood, but it can give inspiration for other girls to be success in their life. I will be discussing about victimhood involves women. It's mostly caused because of their gender. Women became victims because society failed to see women are same level as men. Women are not treated equally as men because in our society mindset, they think that men are much better than women. My first point is feminist movement is important to dignify women should treat it with respect. The reason for this is we can see nowadays at house when a wife just become a housewife, she just treated like a housemaid. It is true that she just worked as a housewife, but she also a human. She is forced to do all the housework like she is a maid. We think that the wife should be treated nicely and treated like a wife. Now to my second point is women should not be judged or given bad words like offensive words. And we can see that in our society, we don't realize it, but it is happening that in a family, daughters are sometimes being bullied by their family's members. For example, like in some family, the brothers, some brothers like to force their sister to do everything because they're just girls, and we think that it is bullying when forcing someone to do all the house chores. some father, they neglect their daughter and just focus on the son because of the gender. The father are responsible to give money for the needs of their daughter, but because they are not their gender is not same, so the father neglect their daughter, and it's like father don't respect their daughter.
Then, leader of opposition, are you done?
Yes.
All right. Thank you to the leader of opposition for the speech. The speaker spoke for 6 minutes and 25 seconds. All right, thank you.
We should now hear the speech from the Deputy Prime Minister. Here we go, the floor is yours.
I start my speech in three, in 3, 2, 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon to Mr. Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the floor. So today, the topic for our debate is that this house, as a feminist movement, will actively promote stories of success and survival as opposed to a narrative of victimhood. So we from the government side believe that this statement is truly true. Before that, I will rebut some points from the opposition side. Okay. First thing, she said that we need to oppose the narrative of victimhood more because there is a lot of human rights issues that they should promote to work. It is true, but can we change that? We must give more positive information about the feminist success, so that the world can think differently, despite from think negatively about the feminist issue. So then I want to recap one of my first speakers said that he said that giving if by promote stories of success and survival about feminists can giving the others who suffer a hope and ways to overcome this victimhood. Okay, so from this, he said that it will promote the equality between men and women. So like we know that victimhood is some of their suffer and their trauma from back then. So when we give the positive story, we promote the stories and success of the feminists who suffer the victimhood, it will help other women who suffer with the same thing. So now I would like to talking about my point. Okay, my first point is if we promote stories and success story about the feminists, it can make people be open-minded. Okay, why? Because these days people always think without didn't think twice about something and always judge like that. So by give the success story, it will help the people like us to be more open-minded about the feminists, that feminists should have right to take involved in the society. So
I please.
yes.
Don't you think that by we telling the success story, they would be like, oh, this feminism issue is not a big thing because they already overcome it.
No, because by telling the success story, okay, you say that people will think that this problem is overcome, but for me, from the government side, we state this because it will help. Like my point said, that it will help people to be open-minded, and it will be open-minded and see this issue more clearly than think this issue is very negatively. So one of one of the example, this there is one of the movie in the Netflix that talking about one of the Indian woman who involved in the pilot fighter. So most of them in the academy is men. So many of them looking down her. So in this journey, they state that how they become more strong to overcome the gender discrimination. Okay. Now say to my second point is it can change world perspective. Okay. Why it change world perspective? Because most of the world think that woman is weak, so and always think women in the like we know that sexuality. So by promote stories of success, they cannot think more about this. Okay. So from the government side, we truly agree with this motion because promoting success story gives more benefit than victimhood narrative. So from me, thank you.
Thank you to Deputy Prime Minister for the speech. The speaker spoke for 7 minutes. Thank you.
Now, I would like to call Deputy Leader of Opposition to deliver her speech. The floor is yours.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay.
Excuse me, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I am the deputy leader of the opposition team. So so the topic for our debate today is that the House, as a feminist, would actively promote stories of success and survival as opposed to a narrative victimhood. So we, the negative team, believe that this statement is false, and we actually support to promote stories about the narrative victimhood. So as the second speaker of the opposition team talked about how it can actually change world's perspective about women is weak, I think that that is actually a typical way of talking, because do you think that actually by telling success stories, people can actually believe that, oh, the woman is strong, and the people around the world, like, they don't have the perspective of how difficult the woman actually built, how she actually go until that far. So I think that is not true. So move on to the first speaker of our opening team. We talked about how women was not respected and was not treated at the same level of men, and how we have been treated as slaves. I think that is true, because like my first speaker talked about, it is not fair, and people is not aware of this. So before I state my first point, I would like to quote something, which is acknowledging victimhood is actually the first step towards recovery. And so moving on to my first point is that, why are we actually promoting to the narrative of victimhood? Because we want to create a platform for other victims to actually for other victims of feminism. So we want to save their lives, because we can actually see that maybe other people who are not being in light, they can actually relate to the stories of the victimhood, and they can actually talk about that. So I think that by talking about the victimhood narration, we can actually reach a wider audience, where maybe in Indian, there are women who are mistreated about the feminism, and are not even treated as women. So they can actually relate to the point where, oh, there are actually people like me who are suffering, but look at them, they are actually living their good life now. They have actually overcome their trauma by facing their own trauma. Like, they can actually openly talk about their trauma now. So I think that is important for us to actually talk about the narrative victimhood. So there is a case where an Indian woman was actually treated as a domestic slave in Britain. But although the woman was actually crying during the interview, but it proves how she can actually talk about her trauma to the media, although it is not shown who she is. But the fact that she can actually talk about the trauma herself by herself proves that actually we can, by talking about the narrative victimhood, we can actually face our trauma. And my second point is that we want to give exposure as to how cruel the world is. And I think that this is a crucial point, where the people or the world does not know how bad it is. Maybe we can actually see the people on the surface, but we don't know the actual stories. So I think that we can actually use the Western media, which usually exaggerate the stories, to actually reach the audience and tell the people on how to actually appreciate the women. And I think that by giving this exposure, we can actually motivate women to actually know better about themselves and their kind. And actually, we can also give awareness to men as to appreciate women and their contributions. Like, of course, we can the population is actually increasing because of women, right? It's a fact. So I think that we can also actually by giving this kind of exposure, we can actually give motivation and so that people can actually take action. The people with the authority can actually take action towards the people who are not yet being helped. Like maybe the organization in Malaysia can actually help the rape victims in Malaysia that have not actually talked because they are too scared of the media and what's on. So the people who are actually being raped or victim of this kind of things can actually relate to the stories that have been told by this successful woman about their victimhood, so they can actually gain strength from that and take the people as an example. So I think I want to talk about how the importance of we to acknowledge that the victimhood, by acknowledging victimhood, is the first step towards recovery. I think that is the most important part of this, and we believe that it helps more to solve the problem about women's rights issue among the society by actually promoting the narrative victimhood. So we, the opposition team, strongly believe that we should actually promote stories of success and survival with narrative victimhood. So I think that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you to the Deputy Leader of Opposition for the speech. The speakers for 6 minutes and 48 seconds. Thank you.
We should now hear the speech from the government whip. Here we go, the floor is yours.
Yes, Mike. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, and 1. Good afternoon. I beg to the Mr. Chairman, the adjudicators, the timekeepers, the members of the floor, ladies and gentlemen. So today's motion are about the House as a feminist movement will actively promote stories of success and survival as opposite to a narrative of victimhood. So we as a government sides are truly agree with this motion, align with our stand that promoting success stories give more benefits than the narrative victimhood. Before I summarize the point that have been given by our side, so I will rebut some of the point that have been given by the opposition side. So the first speaker said that they want to expose the woman right issue that people, and in her example she give that wife is being mistreated by husband and daughters is being bullied and being neglected by father. The question is, how are you gonna expose this problem? So are you gonna do the documentary? Like, are you going to record the father is neglecting the what we call it, the daughter, and how do you want to show it? Like our first speaker has said, we want to promote the success stories and the survival stories by giving a talk show or streaming YouTube like that. So I didn't know how the opposition side are going to show this issue to the world. Like it's like a personal issue, like a family issue. How are you gonna take that evidence to prove to the world? Next, the second speaker that people right now are not aware, so they are trying to acknowledge the word by the woman issue. So they say that they want to give a platform for victim to speak up. So people can relate to their stories and else. But if you are telling the whole world about your issue, some people might think that some people who knows you might thought bad about you, like they will have a negative feelings about you, like oh, these women are so weak. The problem is too little, but she takes long of time to solve it, like that. And so that is why we are trying to promoting success stories, so that people will be inspired that that women are not weak. Women can success in every way, in everything they are involved. And the third, they say that they want to expose how poor the world is, because they say that the organization can take actions and else. But do you really think that organization really work like that? Like, we know like Palestine, Rohingya, and Uyghur Muslim it haven't been solved for years, and almost like Palestine is almost 100 years. So even you are speak out about a woman's problem, they won't listen, because even Palestine, a crisis between two countries is a bigger problem, but they still didn't take any action. So the organization won't take any problem to solve it. So next, we'll summarize the point that has been given by our side. So our first speaker, the Prime Minister, said that we are trying to give others who suffered a hope and ways to overcome this victimhood. So because when we as a woman who are suffering and we saw someone who are so success, like being a billionaire, or like those, what we call it, the Nick Mardia, the best student in SPM in the 20 something like that. So we will be inspired as a student, even we are not like we have what we call it, financial problem, or we have problem in studying. So we will inspired to be like her. And we can take a big example, like Najar, the woman doctor in Gaza. She has been shot in 2008 by the IDF. She is a doctor. Why does the Israel army shot her? Because they are afraid of Najar. She is a doctor. She shouldn't be any harms to the Israelian, but they shot her because they are scared. So this will inspire them to show that women are not weak. Women are strong. Might not be as men, but women are strong in their ways. And we said that, and the second speaker said that we want to make people open-minded, and we want people to see the positive side of ourselves. Like, how would you think if every day you saw about woman is being raped, woman is being abandoned, so you will feel threatened every day. Even your places if safe, you will feel threatened and scared. So we want to show the positive sides in about a woman. So, and the third, we want to change the work perspective, because we want to show them women are success even they have issue. Everyone has issue, but how they will success? Because they overcome the issue instead of just continue living in the issue without any progress. So I, as the third speaker of the government side, I truly agree with this motion, aligned with our stand. Promoting success story give more benefit than victimhood's narrative. With that, I raise my case. Thank you.
Thank you to the government whip for the speech. The speaker spoke for 6 minutes and 48 seconds.
Now, I would like to call Opposition Whip to deliver her speech.
Am I audible?
Yes.
So I will start my speech in 1, 2. Good evening, good afternoon, to members of the floor, respected adjudicators at the opposite side, and ladies and gentlemen. So for today's debate, the motion goes: this house, as a feminist movement, would actively promote story of success and survival as opposed to a narrative of victimhood. We, from the opposition side, truly disagree with this motion. First of all, you need to understand why we oppose this motion at the first place. The reason is, we believe that by telling the people, by telling the world about the story about the victim, it helps more to solve the women's rights issue among the society rather than to promote the success and the survival that the successful women have been occurred before. So here in this debate, we both of us have a very clear objective, which is both of us want to give a better life and a better world to the women. Because as you can see, there's a lot of feminism issue occur around the world, like sexual harassment, domestic abusive, and etc. So to rebut their point, to rebut the government point, they stated that by telling the success and the survival stories, the good stories about and the positive story about how they encounter the problem, it gives hope and solution to the victim how to survive the problem. Can I get a guarantee that it really helps to give hope? How can you sure that it actually giving hope? Don't you think that it's some of them will think that, oh my God, how can she do that? And I'm not. Am I the one who are weak? There might be some people who think like that. We never know their story. And also, they also stated that there's no limited on how we're going to tell the story by forum, by the YouTube and etc. By no limited, can you guarantee that the storyteller itself are not sugarcoating what they are going through? Are not like actually praising themselves that actually can go through all the hardship by themselves. How can you assure that? Besides, they actually meet different kind of abuser, different kind of bad people that give them a very bad impact in their life. So that's not a guarantee that it will actually help the victims to give hope or have give hope and etc. in order to stay alive, to stay strong standing to prove themselves. So beside that, I want to know what kind of success story are you guys are going to talk about? Are about how they managed to study abroad after all the hardship to actually go to school at the first place, or how they managed to become a leader despite all the boss or all the men in the company itself. Because I don't think that this kind of successful story can actually help, because the main issue or the main thing that happened around us that we can clearly see is more about how women are being sexual toys or sexual abuse by the men or by the predator out there itself. So, and what kind of victim are you going to focusing on? Are you going to focusing on the woman who not getting their rights in education, or the one who get the sexual abuse, or about the woman who been biased in patriarchy, etc. So you are not giving a clear vision on how we are going to help. What kind of victim actually you're going to tell the successful story of them. Besides, you also stated that it can make the people to be more open-minded and clearly see what is going to happen. I don't get it. How can you sure that this open-minded thingy can improve and solve the feminism problem at the first place. Some people think, and some society think that open-minded is being very not offense with some kind of rape joke and etc. So you need to give a clearer education to the society, to the people itself on how to be open-minded, like a good side of open-minded. So besides that, they also the opposition side also stated that if we told the people about how hard the life is, the people that actually close to us, we talk back about you because the problem is actually too little, etc. This is the problem is that. Is it too little and that's why it become a problem? And are we going to make it a longer continue? And are you sure that there's only them who actually considering it? No, there's no guarantee that there's only one family who actually encounter the problem. So even yeah. So the next is you also stated that you also asked us how we can show that the organization can help even though a bigger problem are not solving. Then can you give me a guarantee that by telling people a good story, a successful story, then the thing will be solved? No, I don't think so. Because as I stated before, telling a good story, it made people realize that this kind of problem is actually being encountered well, are being well adapted to the people. Women actually can go through this kind of things. And you stated that we say and you stated that as we say that we talk about the victim story of the hardship of the victim, it shows that woman is weak. Are you going to say that? Are you going to underestimate the hardship just by we tell the people they are going to hardship, they're automatically weak? How can you say that as all of the women are actually encounter and going through the same hardship? I mean, like, are going through a hardship that our right are not going to be. We cannot speak up for our own right. So here, before I end my speech, I would like to tell about that. We need to think that giving only positive side to the society doesn't guarantee that the problem is solved, ladies and gentlemen. So before I end my speech, I would like to state that why we oppose the motion, because we think that by narrative the victimhood, it helps more to solve the women's right issue among the society rather than promote the story of success and survival. That's all for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you to the opposition whip for the speech. The speaker spoke for 7 minutes.
Now, both of the government and opposition are being given 1 minute to prepare their reply speech. The time is up. I call upon the speaker from the opposition side to deliver their reply speech. Here we go. The floor is yours.
They talk about how people are not going to be interested by the issue. They are definitely wrong because humanity are true, although it does not seem like it. For example, the Ryan who fell into the the boy, the whole world were with him. The Palestine and Israel crisis is a political issue. Meanwhile, the feminism issue is a social issue. If we are not going to talk about the victimhood, I believe that women have been treated like slaves, can never actually come out of their comfort zone. We should tell them and make one woman as a stepping stone for them to come out of their trauma. The world gap. For the question that how are you gonna expose the problem? It's not doing documentary to expose the problem. There are so many women who experience victimhood as a woman willing to share their own stories. In this era, as a feminist activist, we would post a video of victimhood story that we collected. We could hide the narrator's identity or show their identity if they are willing. Besides, we could speak on social media. There are so many ways we speak. We can speak on a YouTube live, Instagram live while interacting with the viewers. We can share stories about victimhood. And the most trending social media right now is TikTok. When we active in TikTok, people can easily watch our videos because of the engagement. So by uploading these videos of the victimhood stories, we can share the stories with others. So the stories of victimhood can be exposed. In a conclusion, always being positive didn't always solve problems. In fact, at the end of the day, we need to show how women need to unite in order to help ourselves.
Dine. Now, to conclude, let's welcome the speaker from the government side to give their reply speech.
Thank you. And so for the government side reply speech, we would like to see that this motion on from stories of success and survival rather than narrative of a victimhood. We choose stand with the by promoting stories, success and survival can help the victim instead of giving them the narrative of their victims, because these stories of success and survival is the way, as I said before, it is about the solution. It's about the solution of it, and it is not the success story is not about those who are already success. It is about their journey from the below to the top. Okay, and that is how it works, and it gives the inspiration to have to give them the courage to move on, to move forward, and this is also giving them making them open-minded. Okay, as my speaker, as the second speaker of the government side already said, and change the world's perspective about feminism. And from this, it gives maybe the narrative of victims can give the people the awareness, but the story of the success and survival is giving them the solution. Awareness and solution. Awareness is not the solution yet, and the solution is the thing that we want to find. And from that we stand and to oppose the narrative of victimhood, and because it's not way to help the victim, this is not the most efficient way to help the victim itself. And in conclusion, to find a solution we need to find a solution from those who already got a solution, or those who already get through this type of journey. At least we know what to do in brief, and we need to fight for it. And I would like to say that we should win this, because promoting success story give more benefit than victimhood narrative. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That is all for this round debate session. On behalf of the House, I thank the adjudicators for their assistance. I congratulate all the debaters on their performance.
Alright, now the host will assign all the adjudicators to the breakout room to discuss, while the debaters please remain in this room in the meantime.
Aren't this a silent round?
Yes, this is allowed. We wait until the judge into the room. Wait, dah masuk. Okey, semua sedia maklum yang ini merupakan silent round. So, selepas ini semua debaters boleh keluar, boleh leave daripada Zoom ni, dan pada pukul 2:30 nanti anda semua diminta untuk masuk ke roll call. Di situ akan dimaklumkan siapa yang layak ke semifinal, dan di situ juga akan diberi feedback oleh judge. Faham semua? So semua boleh leave. Terima kasih. Luck.